What's going on, guys? My name is Doug. Welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, I'm very happy that you guys decided to show up today and tune into this video. Lil Baby dropped his latest album, My Turn. It's 20 tracks long, and I decided to listen to it on my own time and choose my favorite tracks to listen to on camera, because these feature-length albums are just ridiculously tough to react to. You know, normally the recordings have to happen in sessions because they tend to be really long. Sometimes the battery runs out, sometimes, a myriad of different things. Life happens, and when you have to take about 2 hours of your day to sit down and record a video, so much stuff can happen in between that to interrupt the video. And I've had videos be recorded over 2 different days. I just thought that in this case it would be better and more interesting for the viewers for me to only listen to the songs that I thoroughly enjoyed with this project, and then to give general opinions and ideas towards the end. So if that's what you're here for, my general ideas and opinions on the project, that'll be happening towards the end of the video, and you can just skip ahead now. We're going to be getting right into it, but before that, I do want to say that I am recording an episode of Putting Y'all On the 15th of this month. And so if you have submissions for that, hit me up on my Instagram DMs. For those of you that might not know what Putting Y'all On is, it's basically where I take subscribers' submissions of their music, whether they're a producer that makes beats or they're an artist that makes songs. I take their submissions, listen to them, give them honest feedback on Instagram, and then I pick out the very best ones and showcase them on the channel. I do an episode the 15th of every month, and everyone gets up to 2 submissions per month or per episode on my Instagram DMs. So if you haven't sent in your submissions by now, you have until the 15th to do so, because like I said, that's when I'm recording the video. And with that announcement out of the way, you know how to support the channel, so I'm just gonna leave that up to you. You can support however you see fit. I'm gonna let you do your thing, and I'm gonna do my thing. And we're gonna go through my favorite tracks off of this project. It just so happens that there are 10 of them, so about half of the project. The first one that we're going to be listening to today is Get Ugly. I'm really digging so far just how sinister this production is sounding, and also how epic it is. Being that it's the intro, I really like these string synths that just came in during this portion of the beat of the track, for the verse. I think that Lil Baby's performance was really solid throughout the entire project. Honestly, I'm never gonna have a complaint with his performance. But yeah, just the whole vibe to this, the atmosphere, the epic string synths, the sinister little melodies, all of that really worked together to create a very fire track. And I really like the 808 too. The 808 choices were not always great on this project, but in this case, it really works out well. Yeah, man, that track is just a really solid intro, very energetic. It's got great production, nice mixing. I really enjoy listening to it with my headphones on. For those of you that don't know, my speaker is in mono, so it doesn't get like the full range of all the sounds, but I really enjoy how they panned everything listening to it on my headphones. So I just thought that this track was really nice, made it onto my playlist. Great opener for the project, very epic. And yeah, I think that the next track that made it onto my list is the Gunna feature. Yeah, Heating Up. Love the use of the strings again here.
How we hit bricks, how we sell bricks. Keeping my composure, never sober, never choking, always smoking dope. Fuck them if they getting
love the flow.
Big dripper stand up in the ocean. Everybody trapping, we get losing. He ain't focused if we get out, we gotta smoke him.
How can you hate on this?
I felt like I'm typing something. I'm the type to get active and never run. Won't keep the rules, my niggas ain't scared of nothing.
I really like how simple that string loop is. I don't know if it's a sample or whether it was actually produced by whoever made this track, but just a really simple loop, dun, 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 dun. Really catchy though, with everything else that's going on around. It really sets a very cool stage for Lil Baby and Gunna to just turn up, and their performances really made this track special to me. I thought that the production was nice. It wasn't anything too insane. It's really their energy, their cadences, their swagger, their confidence that really made this track shine for me. So that's really what's sticking out to me so far. Yeah, I don't think anyone can deny that this track rides. You know what I mean? I wasn't a huge fan of Lil Baby. I mentioned this a few videos ago. At some point, listening to his features, I just really started enjoying his sound. And I'm really just loving it now, and I've really enjoyed the performance. I enjoy the showmanship, really, the flow, the cadences, the way that he manipulates his vocals, all of that. really started to make sense to me after a few listens. And so really enjoyed this track. Definitely rides. It's got the bounce. It's got the vibes I'm looking for. Really appreciated these first two tracks.
I need some water.
The next track that I want to mention, I'm not going to necessarily listen to it, was Grace, because I think that is a dope song. Don't get me wrong. But really the reason why I don't come back to it too often is the feature. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's not enough for me to really put it into this list, but I do want to have it. Like if I had an honorable mentions list, this would probably be on it. But the track that we're going to be listening to next is Whoa.
Been over, then I'm gonna if you want your break. Oh baby, you be lying your verses. I can guarantee you if you my kind, she got every bag you can imagine. Big house, you can keep it in Paris. My bitch probably one of the baddest. Good girl, turning into
something about that dark little piano, you know, dun 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 dun. And it also sounds like there's a really soft, sounds like it's a choir. It sounds like it's maybe it's a synth, you know, that sounds like a choir, but it's just really low in the background, almost like a supporting layer for everything that's going on above it. The 808 is crazy. The bounce to this beat is so dark and sinister. And he really made the most of it, honestly. He sounds great right now. I love this song. You really have no idea.
Just started in them niggas and ask, I ain't even tried to when I passed and giving looks, I contribute to family.
Switching from straight rap to singing is seamless. It's so catchy.
Daily just so they can see. Turn me on some man, she back on the road. She know how I get when I get in that mode. Ain't fucking with bitches, ain't.
Yeah, everything about that track is just so appealing to me. I love like I mentioned it, the seamless transition from him rapping into him singing the hook. I think that the hook was really catchy, very well written. Not in terms of like impressive lyrics or anything like that. I mean the melodies, you know. The melodies were very cleverly written to get stuck in your head and be repetitive. I think that the performance, the confidence, again, the flow really was nice. Really nice beat as well. All around great track with a crazy, sick bounce that is very, very enjoyable to listen to. Live Off My Closet is next. Couldn't leave this one out. I think this producer tag is pretty sick too.
Twisted.
Yo, the arpeggiated little bells, first of all, they sound great. I love the chords that they chose for them to play. Very dark, very sinister again. And just the way that this track slaps you in the face, everything just comes in out of nowhere. I mean, it's not like it's a surprise. There is a riser that leads into it, so you know when it's going to drop. But just how hard it drops with the lyrics coming right in and the bass doing like, it comes in and then immediately after there's like a little triplet roll. That just, again, adds to how tough it is, man. Nothing about it is unexpected because, like I said, you know when the drop is coming, but just how far the drop is, you know, just how hard that drop is, that's what's surprising. That's what's insane to me. I just love that, man.
You won't let nobody get the best of him. Oh, you don't know Scotty take a test unless you won't let me get in, so I left with her.
Was this girl's beat on the melody? Halftime? Yo, this is so catchy, dude. Oh my god. Future is going off, man. Hard beat, crazy drop, awesome performance from Lil Baby, crazy killer feature from Future. No complaints. No complaints. Really cool little bell melodies, like I mentioned. I think that they added some gross beat or halftime onto it for the hook. Not for the hook, but for the verses. You know, we get the lower pitched ones. Really interesting, keeps us interested in the beat, you know, switching things up so that we never lose interest and it never gets too repetitive in our ears. I love how fast paced it is, how energetic. Really nice track. All right, next is Emotionally Scarred. This little flute is what got me, honestly. Man, that's so real, dude. I will say, firstly, I'm not a huge fan of that little snare fill, and secondly, I'm not a huge fan of this kick. I think that I would have preferred my kick to have a little bit more of a low end to it. I know that you can't have too much of it or else it'll clash with the 808 and all that, but a little bit more, because this one feels like it's really punchy in the mids, and it really sounds like it's got a nice initial punch to it, but afterwards it doesn't have that oomph to back up that initial hit. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. It's almost like it's hollow. It punches, but it doesn't sound like there's much weight to it. You know, so I would have chosen a kick with a little bit more low end. And that little snare fill, like I mentioned, I wasn't a huge fan of. But I'm digging the guitar melody. I'm digging how real his lyrics are right here. This track rides so well. Really enjoying it.
Hey, little biggies, OG salute me. Silence can't even stop me. The robbers probably wanna get me on up, and I let these niggas lose screws. I can't see me taking the lead.
Yo, that little flute is too nice, man. Love the flow.
I leave that to the people. Everybody.
Yeah, man, I just love the way that he delivered that track. His performance has been absolutely phenomenal. Even on the tracks that didn't make it onto my favorites list, I have zero complaints with any of his performances on these tracks. His performance was really consistent, very solid, no complaints at all from me in terms of what Lil Baby is bringing to the table. Every time that a song didn't end up making it on my list was either because of a feature that I didn't enjoy too much or a beat selection problem. But Lil Baby did his thing on all 20 of these tracks. He really did. It was surprising to me, but I really just couldn't find myself hating on Lil Baby or his performance on any of these songs. So really enjoyed the way that he approached this track. Loved the beat selection. Had a few little issues with the beat, like I mentioned, but for the most part, this is a fantastic song. I have it in rotation already. It's on my playlist. I've been listening to it for the last 2 days, and yeah, it had to make it onto my list. So another one of these honorable mentions that I'm not going to be listening to, but I really have to mention, is Commercial featuring Lil Uzi Vert. Like I said, Lil Baby does his thing on all the tracks. Lil Uzi Vert did his thing on the feature. Absolutely loved it. Didn't like the beat at all. Hate the kick pattern and the 808 pattern on this beat. It really just throws me off. It's not something that rides very well, in my opinion. It's not something that has got too much bounce to it. People will disagree with me. People will enjoy this one, and that's okay. You know, it really just isn't for me. These are my opinions. So the next track that we're actually going to be listening to is Forever. I will say, though, it's not the best track named Forever that features Lil Wayne.
I would never stop like I'm running from the cops. Hop up in my car and tow my chauffeur to the top. But what should I scream for? This is my pin car.
Oh my God. So yeah, this will just never top that, but fantastic track still. Yo, just the first bar of the track, you know what I mean? If I sell my soul, I'll take it back because I'm slime forever is... What does that mean? It's so hard. It immediately just comes right out the gate with the heat. The beat is great. You know, again, very dark piano melodies. Everything that I really enjoy to hear from Lil Baby, I'm getting right here. So already very appealing to me.
She got rollies on her time, bitch. When she step out, she be glass. Whenever we get her up like hell, pretty tall, like skin shit like jello. The bitch that can use her to take it to the ghetto. I ain't smoking like.
Yo, I like those bells. They're very epic, like church bells. Yo, I love Lil Wayne on that hook. Just a fire track. Awesome guest feature from Lil Wayne. Really love towards the end when he harmonizes along with Lil Baby on the hook. I think that the actual hook in itself is really catchy. It's great. Love the beat. Love the way it rides. Super awesome vibes. And just a great track all in all. Had to make it onto my list. Couldn't leave it out. Next track we're going to be listening to is Some to Prove. I was thrown for a loop a little bit with these initial synths.
You know the shit is my nigga, I made him a million, now fuck it, we all rich. I ain't got no mosh pit, can't believe that I'm still in apartments. Businessman when they got me in the office.
Yeah, so like I said, those initial synths were really strange to me at first, but the bounce is undeniable. It's undeniable. The flow, the production, how dark it is, and the way that it gets you moving and bouncing to it is undeniable. This needed a Roddy Ricch feature, if I'm honest. That really would have made this 10 out of 10, but love this vibe, man. Love the bounce to this.
I got raw, that shit made me a monster. You bitch, you know this my sister, my mama's. Now they houses glad. They
love that.
In my bag, but told me don't take my foot off the gas. They give you an ink on crowd. Now I'm so low out of squad. We finally made it, let's pop us a bottle. I took the lead out in here and go taste it.
He goes off, man. He's just ridiculous.
See us on TV and let's breathe. He try to do what I do, but we not.
Right here, this usage of the open hi-hat is really not appealing to me. It doesn't really sound great in my opinion. I believe they're on quarter notes every fourth beat, but it just doesn't really sound great to me. But still, the bounce is still undeniable. It's a fantastic song, man. I can do without that little portion where, like I said, they have quarter note open hi-hats because it does sound a little bit shrill. They did their best to try and keep things different by panning them, I think. Or either they were panned or pitched. I do not think that they used the same open hi-hat. I think they had two different ones. But, you know, I could have done without that in the beat, but I get that they were trying to add emphasis on that portion, make it a little more epic, almost like a bridge or something, but, you know, it just didn't really work for me. But still, the rest of this track is so good that it still ended up making it onto my list because despite its mistakes, I still really enjoy it. Gotta have the Young Thug feature, man. Next track is We Should. Already one of the more complex beats so far.
We should start it. I come from a place between the bricks where it was hard. Don't you call me with it.
Love Young Thug, man.
In a rubber band. Too much attention on these rappers. Fuck it, we gon' rap their man. Some shit up. And this gang some bullshit, but they paying, so I play it. Cardio earrings out like on here with they.
That part where they cut out the beat is phenomenal. It sounds really nice to me. And then when they bring it back in, it's really climactic, really emphatic, and just a really huge highlight of the track for me. I love the Young Thug feature. You know, I think that they sound great together. I love that this is one of the more complex beats melodically. It's got a little bit more going on than some of the other more simple beats that we heard. Just had a really nice time listening to it. And I had to include that because it's one of the more approachable, radio-friendly, like easier tracks to listen to. Doesn't really make it very hard for you to get into it and enjoy it. Next track is Consistent.
This ain't the vibe that I need. Stop the beat, G5 free. I be spinning racks on these jeans, I'm too real.
When he said stop the beat, I knew this was it. Love the little flute. The flute is so subtle. When I first heard this track, I had my headphones on. I was listening to the project as I cleaned up around the house, washed some dishes, things like that. And the flute was so subtle that I almost didn't pick up on it. But as soon as I registered that I was hearing a flute in the background, it made so much sense. It's such a nice little touch that really makes this beat so special. It's like the little bit of flair that it needed from keeping it from being too simple, overly simple, you know, and empty. It's the little bit of melody that I really needed to go, okay, this is definitely it. I'm going to add this onto my playlist because it rides. Love the drum patterns. And then I love his confident delivery, his flow, coming in and immediately saying stop the beat for a bar or something was really, really dope. I wasn't expecting it. It's a really nice display of like confidence and here I am from Lil Baby. But then when I registered that little flute, I was like, all right, this track's got it all. I really enjoy it. So yeah, I gotta put you guys onto that little flute, man, because some of you guys might not have listened to that yet.
Man, I'm turning lit. Tired of this car, this switch. Tell them I hold the bitch, please. Tell the business don't mention. I ain't even have a pot to pick. When I started this, all the drugs I sold, all the shit I took. I done seen so much, I can write a book. Ain't stunned that whole. You was in the house on punishment. I was in the hood, and the strong ass kush, old cuz came through it.
It's just a fantastic track for the reasons that I said before. You know, while I paused the song, talk about the little flute. I just really think that the track is thorough, that it's well-rounded, it's got everything that I'm looking for. Really nice vibe, great bounce, solid beat, great performance, no complaints at all. Another honorable mention here, Gang Signs. I'm still a little iffy on it. I'm still not certain whether or not I like that sample, whether I really enjoy the production on it. I think that the beat, sometimes when I'm listening to it, it's not really for me. Other times I find it a little more enjoyable. So I'm gonna put it on my honorable mentions list for this one. Still really deciding how much I really enjoy it. The last track that we're going to be listening to today is called Forget That, featuring Rilo Rodriguez.
Got 1,000 pounds for 1,000, buy them bitches now. Every time I make them throw in the towel, don't get them started. If you ask me on the hard, it's up and drop. Everyone holler on my Leo and Ross. Why you keep buying me, changing these watches? How can I not every day I get profit? On the block, but they don't play like but if they 6'4", they know the random like they raise. I'm in the air, but he got murked with a revolver. Send a cricket in the phone.
Love the feature, man. I think that the way that Rilo Rodriguez, first of all, his voice is already great. It's got like a nice thick warmth to it. It's got a really great sound, but also the way that he enunciates his words puts some emphasis on certain syllables, and it really just adds some punch to his delivery, you know, some uniqueness to his performance. I think it sounds awesome. The beat is nothing too insane, but it's a really good beat. Really nice to ride to, really easy to listen to. Lil Baby does his thing on this, so you know I had to put this song on there. I really had to shout out Rilo Rodriguez, really, because it was his feature that made me go, yeah, this is really just worthy of being on this list. I really enjoy it. It's gonna go on my playlist, and that was the last like major track that I thoroughly enjoyed on the project. Now, if your favorite track didn't make it onto my list, that doesn't mean that I hate it. A lot of people assume that if I left the song off, I must think it's bad. That's not the case. I didn't think that there were any really bad songs on here, except for that Lil Uzi track, and it wasn't even a bad song. It was just poor beat choice, in my opinion. Like I said, Lil Baby's performance throughout this entire project was really surprising to me in that it was very consistent, catchy, it was fire, his lyrics were really dope. And that's another thing. I wasn't expecting to enjoy the lyrics so much. I was expecting to enjoy his vibe, the way he manipulates the vocals, the melodies, but his lyrics were really enjoyable as well. So I think that Lil Baby in general did a great job on this project. I had a feeling that a lot of these beats were a little bland for him, and he was really doing his best to make the beats interesting, to make the songs fun to listen to. But I think that with poor beat choice, I mean, there's not really too much that you can do to keep people interested in your performance if your beat isn't great. So I feel like a lot of the beats chosen were a little mediocre, a little mid, and not really living up to the level that he was performing at, honestly. So that really kept some of these other tracks from making it onto my list. But this project is extremely easy to put on and shuffle and listen to. All the tracks are really fun to listen to, great vibes. These 10 tracks, personally, I think that they've got a very particular bounce to them, great features, a really nice performance from Lil Baby, and they specifically ride the best. They've got the catchiest melodies, catchiest hooks, in my opinion, but you know, none of the other ones are very, very bad. If I had to rate this project, I'd probably give it like a 7. Honestly, it's thoroughly enjoyable. It's nothing insane. It probably won't be album of the year. But I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I liked the majority of the tracks. I really liked about half. And yeah, it's just a really dope project. If you haven't heard it, it's definitely worth a listen. It is an hour long, so like I said, try and listen to it while you're doing something else, maybe have it in the background. Bump it in your car. These beats go crazy. The low end really sounds awesome, you know, when you're driving. And yeah, those are my thoughts on My Turn by Lil Baby. Thank you so much for watching the video. Like I said, send in your submissions to my Instagram DMs for putting y'all on. If you would like to support the channel, I mean, you know how, but subscribe, become a member, become a patron, follow my social media. All of those things are in the description. And yeah, I will see you guys in another video very soon. So until then, as always, stay safe and peace out.